Coming to you from South Florida, the KC Ingram Show broadcasts from the heart of the Manatee Pocket, atop the Fish House District and a marina, Port Salerno's hidden gem. Now here's KC Ingram Unleashed.
Sitting in the shadows, Ingram calls the shots, speaking truth to power where the rebels lost. Voices rising, anger crackles through the air. KC's beat unleashed, raising hell without a care.
All around us, in cities, suburbs, and rural landscape, there's an invisible crisis happening. One that doesn't always make headlines, but it is painfully real. Every day, thousands of dogs are abandoned across the United States. Some are left behind on the side of the road, others dumped at the overcrowded shelters, and too many are simply turned loose, let to survive on their own, without food, shelter, or protection from the elements. It's easy to think of this as a faraway issue, something that happens somewhere else. But the truth is, it happens everywhere, from quiet neighborhoods to bustling city streets. And for every heartwarming adoption story we see shared on social media, there are countless other stories of dogs who aren't that lucky. In Florida, the situation's even more heartbreaking in certain areas. Take the Everglades, for example, a place known for its wild beauty and diverse ecosystems. But beneath that beauty is a stark reality. Over 3,000 dogs are abandoned in the Everglades every single year. Think about that, thousands of dogs left alone in an environment where they have little chance of survival. They face extreme heat, lack of food, dangerous predators, and a landscape that wasn't made for them to navigate alone. But this issue stretches far beyond the swamps of Florida. Across the country, shelters are overcrowded, rescue organizations are overwhelmed, and adoption rates can't keep up with the constant flow of abandoned animals. And yet, amid all this heartbreak, there is still hope. That hope comes from people, ordinary people, who refuse to turn a blind eye. Organizations, volunteers, and rescue groups work tirelessly to save as many of these dogs as they can. And this effort isn't confined to just one region. It's a nationwide network that spans from coast to coast, rescuing, fostering, and relocating dogs to places where they have a better chance of finding a forever home. One part of this incredible network is Nala's Rescue. Nala's Rescue works to give these animals a second chance by rescuing them and helping transport them to regions where adoption demand is higher, particularly in the Northeast. There, they're welcomed into loving homes and finally given the safety and care they deserve. But the bigger question remains, why is this happening? Why are so many dogs being abandoned? The reasons vary: financial hardship, lack of access to affordable spay and neuter services, changes in living situations, or sometimes simple neglect or cruelty. And while it's easy to point fingers, what's more important is finding solutions. That means transporting affordable veterinary care, encouraging responsible pet ownership, and backing the reputable organizations that are out there saving lives every day. And here's where you come in. Yes, you're listening right now. You don't need to run to a rescue or adopt a dozen dogs to make a difference. You can volunteer, donate, foster, or even just share the stories of organizations doing the hard work like Nala's Rescue. Every small action contributes to a larger movement of compassion and care. In the studio today, we're joined by Nava Love of the Pegasus Foundation, representing the Everglades Animal Coalition, and Barbie Moline, founder of Nala's New Life Rescue. They'll share their vital roles in this rescue network, the incredible stories of the dogs they've saved, and how each of us can become a part of the solution. We'll dive into the stories behind the statistics, the challenges they face every day, and how even the smallest gesture can help rewrite the ending for a dog in need. Because at the end of the day, every abandoned dog has the same simple wish to feel safe, to be loved, and to have a home to call their own. Let's be the ones who help make that happen. So I also have another guest, as you can see here, and it's Captain with Barbie. Folks, these are one of the dogs that Barbie has over at Nala's Rescue, and Captain is 2 years old and absolutely adorable. One of them that has a story to tell, and we're going to delve into a lot of these stories and know that, you know, Captain's looking for his forever home too, right? Right. So with me right to my left, Nala's founder, Barbie Moline. Nala was a companion and friend whose brave fight against bone cancer inspired Barbie to rename her rescue in honor of her. Nala's New Life Rescue has been saving dogs for years who have no other hope. We have a true no-kill policy and save dogs who need to be rescued regardless of age, breed, and health issues. Nala specializes in saving unwanted dogs and cats from kill shelters all over Florida who otherwise would be euthanized or gassed. Nala's New Life Rescue pays to pull the dogs to safety, cover all medical and transportation expenses, and provides a safe foster home or boarding facility until a foster or forever home is approved. All of Nala's animals have a full veterinary examination, vaccinations are spayed or neutered. Nala cares for them until they are emotionally and or physically healed or homes become available. Nala's New Life Rescue has saved and placed over 150 dogs. Is that since 2016? I have homes in 2016.
No, it's about 150 a year with the
year.
transport. Right.
A year.
Right.
Nala's New Life Rescue is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. That's amazing, 150 dogs a year. And you're just one of many organizations, rescue organizations.
Right.
It shows how big this issue is.
Right.
And on my far left, Nava Love is a speaker, teacher, entertainer, and artist in South Florida. Nava's event agency, The Fantastic Party at FantasticPartyFactory.com, has shared inspired moments, events, and activities with multi-generational audiences for over 25 years. Nava's diverse skill set has led to a myriad of creative projects in the private and corporate arena with thousands of people. Nava is skilled in presenting cooperative and competitive games, learning-based play, discussion groups, conscious music and movement, recreational activities, sports, fitness, wellness, and more. From a very young age, Nava knew she was meant to teach. An early career as a preschool teacher instigated a real fascination with people and behavior. This led to the creation of a signature program called Sloppy Tots Play Shop, a sensory class for preschool, a musical group called Bananas Band, oh that sounds like fun, more engaging programs like Paint and Play and Life is a Dance Floor for infant to elderly and your inner child. Might join that. Nava is committed to a deep passion for giving back to all communities. Since 2001, Nava has been active in the South Florida philanthropic world as a guest and a purveyor of inspired fundraisers and events, regularly co-creating with groups like Jewish Federation, Miami Children's Museum, Everglades Animal Coalition, the Brady Hunter Foundation, Mount Sinai Young Presidents, the Broward Children's Center, the Friendship Circle, the Lotus House, the Little Lighthouse, among others, has been such a rewarding part of the journey. A successful career filled with gratitude has sparked Nava's deep intuitive calling to be in service to human beings, the safety and protection of all animals, and our precious environment. The consistent missions throughout Nava's work are to ignite connection and compassion, to encourage creativity and play, and to design inspired moments that can continue to transform the world into a better place. So let's play.
Discover the Fish House District and Marina, Port Salerno's ultimate waterfront escape. Nestled in the heart of Port Salerno and the breathtaking Manatee Pocket, the Fish House District and Marina is your go-to destination for fresh seafood, craft cocktails, and an unforgettable waterfront vibe. Drop anchor at the Pearl, the district's swanky new hotspot, serving up expertly crafted drinks and the freshest catches. Explore the district, unwind by the water, and top off your experience with a scoop or two of the best ice cream in Martin County at Captain Hook's, a local favorite known for its rich, creamy flavors that keep visitors coming back for more. Feeling adventurous? Stretch and relax with aerial yoga at the OM Shack. From laid-back days to lively nights, there's something for everyone. Come see what the buzz is all about. Visit the Fish House District and Marina at 4745 Southeast DeSoto Avenue in Port Salerno, right on the Manatee Pocket, where coastal charm meets excitement.
All right, so Barbie, I have to start with you and Captain. Okay. Tell us a little bit about Captain, and we're so glad that he joined us here in the studio today. He's my first four-legged guest, by the way.
That's great. Well, Captain is a little over 2 years old, and he was rescued from the shelter we pull most of our dogs from, which is in the middle of the state, Okeechobee Animal Control. It's an hour west of Martin County, and it's a very rural, poor shelter. They don't even have air conditioning.
Oh.
So they get 150, 200 dogs a month.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and nobody's spayed or neutered. And so this little guy was there. He was owner surrender from someone who couldn't take care of him anymore. And so we rescued him and had him neutered. He wasn't neutered, and he has heartworm disease, which is prevalent over there because the dogs aren't on preventative. And heartworm disease is one of the main focuses that we have. We're one of the only rescues, I should say, that take heartworm positive dogs. It's very expensive to treat, time consuming, holds up adoptions because once the dog's treated, they can't play for 2 months. So a lot of people don't want to deal with that, and they can get very sick from the treatment. But otherwise, if you don't treat them, they can die from the heartworm. He's very young, so it's very treatable for him. But it's still expensive and time consuming. But we take probably 70 to 80 dogs a year that have heartworm disease. And they cannot transport if they have heartworm disease. They're not allowed to go to New Hampshire where we transport our dogs. The state doesn't allow heartworm positive dogs to come in there. So they have to be treated in Florida before they can go.
He says, thank you for treating me.
Yes.
So, Barbie, how long does it take? You said a couple months. How far into his treatment is he? Is it a long-term thing if somebody were to adopt him?
He's completed his first treatment, which is just medication. And then there's 2 ways you can do heartworm treatment. There's a slow treatment that you can do, which is just HeartGuard every month. If they only have the very beginning of heartworm disease, or if they have a more advanced stage, then they have to have injections. And that takes 2 months. And while they have having the injections, they have to remain quiet. So no running, no playing, that kind of thing.
So with Captain, if somebody were to adopt him, just tell us a little bit. We got to talk about Captain, then we're going to get into the whole rescue organization. But first of all, I want you to talk a little bit about his color black and how that makes it more difficult to adopt.
It's called black dog syndrome at the shelters. Black dogs are the last ones adopted for some reason, dogs and cats. Nobody knows why there's that stigma, but there is. But they're wonderful dogs, just like any other color. And he's very friendly, and he has a best friend at our ranch that he plays with every day, and he's housebroken, and so he's a good boy.
And he's about 2 years old. That's as big as he'll get.
That's as big. He's full grown. Mm-hmm.
And he's just. This is the second time I've seen Captain, and both times he's so well behaved amongst other people, and he's not shy, as you can see.
Right.
He's saying, "Nava, pet me." So I'm sure he'll find a new home soon.
Yeah. So he's a typical dog that we rescue. That's not perfect. That has medical needs that a lot of rescues don't want to deal with. So
how do you choose the dogs? I mean, you just said there's 150 to 200.
Well, the dogs that transport, they have to be that we transport. They have to be dog friendly because so many people in New Hampshire are looking for a dog and they already have another dog.
Okay.
So the dogs that go on transport, they have to be heartworm negative and they have to be dog and people friendly.
Okay.
So that's the ones we choose for transport have to meet that criteria. And if we get a dog like him and he's heartworm positive, then his future is bleak at the shelter. Because we don't know how long he.
They euthanize over there, so
definitely.
they're probably not going to put the money into trying saving somebody.
They don't treat the heartworm positive dogs. So he was rescued, and he will find a perfect home. He just can't be transported because he has to go through the treatment. So.
And he'll just stay on HeartGuard for.
That's right.
As they should anyway.
Absolutely.
It's a normal thing to give dogs.
Absolutely. So he's just one of many, but he's a good example because some people have the misconception that only older dogs get heartworm disease. Well, he's 2, and he has it. So it's
any of them,
any age.
Mosquito bites,
Mosquito bite, right? Goes right. The larva bite goes right to their heart. Before you know it, their heart's like a bowl of spaghetti.
He's cute. He sees his reflection here behind me. He's like, look at, who's that dog? Nava, tell us a little bit about the Everglades Animals Coalition.
So the Everglades Animals Coalition came about when an incredible group of ladies came together and were made aware of this issue in the Everglades. I think the mission was started when Joyce Hasiotis, Barbara Birdsey, Thalia Hasiotis, were deeply moved and concerned by just the sheer amount of animals every single month. Now, I just want to be clear about how the problem gets so big. Is there are animals that are dumped, displaced for whatever reason, people passing away, people moving, but then there's what happens in outdoor environments where there's reproduction.
Right.
And that's one of the factors that really, I remember sitting with this and thinking how insurmountable the job is. So when I started to dive deeper in and work with the Everglades Animal Coalition, that are basically what we do is we help fund the missions of these incredible rescues that are doing the frontline work. It's a multiple step process. When you find a dog either at a shelter like Okeechobee or in the wild, in these grasslands where daily people go feed and water, even if they can't retrieve them because the shelters are full. There's the reproduction rate. There is the just the sheer overflow. So what we do is we help those missions of the rescues. We help fund their transport. We help with medical care. You can imagine that daily there are animals that are just dropped off places, or we get phone calls. So we try and be supportive of all of the missions of our rescues that we work with Barbie on a regular basis. And it's deeply rewarding. And my purpose is to really get the word out there, to plan inspired events where we can, I like to say, party with a purpose, but really deeply educate people, because yes, first and foremost, it's about the welfare of these animals, but how these structures also impact our neighborhoods, our businesses, when animals are fending for their lives and at dumpsters or in traffic or in school zones or in residences. So there's so many aspects to, as the Everglades Animal Coalition, what we try and do as a coalition is group people together from the rescue point, from the community volunteers point. We go into city government, try and meet with people and get the exposure so that cities can also take responsibility to help with capturing the problem from the beginning, which means harsher laws clearly for animal abuse and abandonment.
100%.
And just some sort of cohesive network, so that I think when people really realize the magnitude of the problem, instantly they get on board, which is why also we have a really exciting project we just created with Jeff Corwin. He went into the field with us at the rescues to capture firsthand with a camera, step by step, what happens from the point of inception to getting them to a doctor, seeing what the medical care is that they need, getting them up to date, and then hopefully the final product that you see all the time is being able to really deliver them. Barbie gets them to their new homes. And so that's the happy finish that we're all looking forward to.
Nava, we're going to watch that trailer at the end of this episode. It's Expedition Rescue Mission Hope. And that is with Jeff Corwin, to give people a little idea of that. And I was lucky enough to see a screening of that, and I was shocked. We're here in Martin County, Florida. I had no idea how many dogs from Florida are transported to the Northeast, because I should let you guys say, but because that's where there's a little more demand for people to adopt dogs. We just have so many dogs that are abandoned here.
Right, and they also have way stricter spay-neuter laws
up
and
there.
breeding regulations, where there's none in Florida.
So
that's the
big
root of
difference.
the problem.
So
That's the
Barbie,
root of
that's
the
got to be
problem.
a passion of yours, to try and get something done through legislative action
Right.
to make sure these dogs are spayed and neutered.
Right.
What's the struggle of getting any kind of laws passed?
Getting the local, like county commissioners, local people to understand what the enormity of the situation.
Give us an example of a spay and neuter law that you would recommend for a county.
Well, there is a state law that every animal, the only exception is if they're too young, any dog or cat at a county facility, there is a state law on the books that they need to be spayed or neutered before they leave that facility. And unfortunately, it's not enforced. So enforcement of that law would, in my opinion, be the first step. But a lot of the poor counties, the rural counties in the middle of Florida, they don't even have money for food or vaccines. How are they going to spay and neuter? They don't have the capacity to do that. So it would take a statewide effort, like they have in New Hampshire, like they have in Massachusetts, where they have spay neuter clinics all over, and they have mobile units, and it doesn't cost the people anything. I
was wondering, is there a fund to set up there so everybody has money
and
to
they have
spay and neuter?
veterinarians that participate, and everybody chips in and makes it
So important.
like a no-kill state, pretty much.
Right.
So they don't have overflowing shelters. They don't even have enough dogs. I mean, they're waiting for us to bring dogs to adopt up there. So,
And that's where organizations like the Everglades Animal Coalition come in. Nava, tell us a little bit about the stories of these dogs, and probably you too, Barbie, because some of your dogs do end up in the Northeast. It's a real process. I mean, kind of walk us through this. It was something I didn't realize happened, but it's a big deal, and it takes a lot of money, and that's why every little bit helps, no matter what it is.
right.
Yeah, I think there's a number of different areas where we can be impactful, from the point of city government to educating our children. Everglades Animals Coalition, Thalia Hasiotis has penned a children's book about the journey of a rescue animal. I brought you a copy so that you can have one for your office. And
It's so cute.
It's the programming, the re-education, the integrating new programs and information so that people maybe who don't even know proper animal care and treatment because they come from a different background and they're just trying to get by. Animals are deeply healing. So I don't know if we can fault someone who just doesn't know. So I think it's re-education, it's proper funding, it's tougher laws, and the awareness that somehow, why is Florida this weird Wild West of
I wonder that as
allowance?
well.
Right.
Because we've seen, we've seen terrible things, people pouring acid on animals or machetes or tied
Shooting
to
them. We have one.
outside or have their mouths clamped shut. It's literally heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Which is why, I do feel very hopeful about the movement, because the longer I'm involved, and I'm a newbie and I learn so much every time, I just get to sit and fill in more pieces, because it's not just, hey, I found a dog, do you want a dog?
Right.
And I think that the more we educate, the more we learn. We are actually getting a momentum now. We're getting the word out. We're getting a community down in South Florida. So we've got a base down in Miami by Homestead, where they're very close, right on the Everglades. We've got a group coming through in Aventura, Fort Lauderdale, in Hovey Sound, up here in Stewart. So the goal is to have regular events so that we can stay connected as a coalition, as a community, and be able to support the rescues like Nava's.
If you love today's show, thank the experts at Impactful Media Group. And if you want your next event, project, or campaign to shine just like this, visit impactfulmedia.com.
It's incredibly important. And again, I don't know that people realize the extent of the abandonment. And you mentioned the abuse. There was a cat here in Martin County just a couple weeks ago. It made the news. Somebody shot the cat, but the poor thing couldn't walk. It's just horrific. And you've seen those photos where they're taping their mouth shut and abandoning them. It's like, I can't understand it either. It's so distressing. And thank God for organizations like yours that are out there. But as a whole in the community, we all have to be aware of this, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of it. And here in Florida too, it seems like we have a lot of stories about dog fighting, and so we have a lot of the pit bulls in shelters, and I think that's a struggle. And I think there's a misconception, and maybe it's not a complete misconception, but a lot of the dogs in the shelter are pit bulls. I mean, what do you say to the folks with that? Because everybody's afraid of the breed.
Yeah, and that's true. Nala was a purebred pit bull that we named the rescue after. That we rescued her as a puppy, and she was such a great dog. She was an ambassador to the breed and ended up living with me and my kids. And she was just, she was just changed everybody's opinion that met her. The good thing about when we transport the dogs to New Hampshire, our partner up there is Darpster Rescue, and they're beyond wonderful. And they don't discriminate against breed, size, age, and they take lots and lots of pit bulls. And there's a lot of farms up there. They don't have gated communities and things that we have here so much. So there's a lot of farms and a lot of more rural areas where they can take. They don't have the rules against taking certain breeds. Discrimination that we have in Florida.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's very, very hopeful for them. Our last two transports, every dog that we sent was a pit bull or a pit bull mix, and they already got adopted. So
thank goodness you have that avenue and that outlet, though,
yes.
because here in Florida,
they would all die. Those dogs would have
not stand a chance.
It's a pretty inspiring picture when she's got this amazing giant van, passenger van, which is what we need to be able to transport so many cages safely. If something should happen, they're going long distances. But I remember the first time where I just looked in the back and everybody was packed in, and it was such a hopeful moment that I understood at that moment how much goes into each individual animal, each individual story, and so that hopefulness, and to have Darpster and the receiving side over there to be so grateful is also very hopeful so that we can continue to move the dogs.
So before you move the dogs up there, do they have to
And
be
cats.
completely healthy? And
Oh,
cats,
yes.
okay.
And
So
cats.
you have all the veterinary cost here,
Yes.
rehabilitation cost here
Yes.
in Florida before they can be transported.
Right.
And do you have veterinary partners?
Yes, we have one, All Creatures Animal Hospital in Stewart. They've been our vet for 25 years, so they are incredible with these transports. People don't realize the paperwork involved in transporting
Across
dogs
state
or
lines.
Absolutely. Everything from health certificates to, they have to have dentals done. Every state has different regulations. So it's and you have to be exact because, it's just, very important.
Well, they
They
probably
are-
stop them at the border if they don't.
Exactly. So they all have to have, flea and tick medication, heartworm,
Everything.
it's very, and the cats are super involved too with the vetting. So
So Nava, how many different rescue organizations does the Everglades Animal Coalition work with to be able to transport dogs just from Florida up north?
Oh goodness, we've got numerous rescues that we work with. I think the most active right now are Pet Orphans Miami and Nava's because they are moving a tremendous amount of dogs and really literally on the front line of retrieving. We do offer grants and we're always looking to work with meaningful projects. It is a medical surprise party, really. And so what I find is the medical billing, we really try and help with some of the worst cases first, which is hard. They're all pretty bad. We just keep going.
What's the biggest challenges that faces your organization right now?
I think the struggle to be at the point of outreach and really be at the ask, because it does feel like a never-ending cycle, like a hamster wheel. And so the hardest thing is really engaging people to be regular partners, and to really get on board. I won't say it's hard, I'll say it's encouraging, because that's what the job
Right.
is.
Right.
We've got content, we've got reason, we've got meaning. It always ends up being something inspired. I guess that's just the nature of rescue, isn't it?
It is. It is. Our captain here, he's like trying every one of us. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, who's going to pet me now? Barbie, you're on the front lines of the rescue. So if you have a dog that comes in with neglect and trauma, I'm sure that's a lot of extra work. What do you do to help prepare these dogs for their forever home?
right, many of the dogs have been neglected, kept outside. They don't come with a book, so we're not sure exactly what happened to
Right.
them, but we can surmise from their behavior. And the best thing is that they need is time. If they're not ready to be transported yet, mentally, if that's gonna be too much for them at that time, then we will rehabilitate them at our ranch. And it's just, the volunteers and the small staff we have, just getting to know them, reassuring them, and the number one thing that helps them is being with another dog. They get their confidence. He has his best friend who's a 2-year-old shepherd mix who her owner passed away, and both her hips she's probably going to have to have hip replacements.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's why she's not available for adoption yet, but that's his best friend. And you can see his face light up when she comes around. So that has helped him, come out of his shell, because he was not socialized when we rescued him.
A lot of trust issues, I'm
Right,
sure it
correct,
sounds like. so-
correct. Even your gentleman friend down there, he was very hesitant of him, and then he came around. So many of them. I mean, we have one that we have now that was shot. So she's being really rehabilitated. The cat, we have lots of cats that have broken legs that we rescue. Some need surgery, some will just heal.
Why is that, do you suppose? Is it abuse or?
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. And we can't send those cats, and like she said, everything's a surprise. We pick up the animals, we get them to the vet, and there's a broken leg, or there's this or that. So, and those, you can't send them back to the shelter. So
Right.
we have to absorb them into Nala's until they're able to travel.
And thank goodness for rescues like Nala's that is here in the area. And it's for that reason you have the animals that are abused, and some of them, like you said, they need tremendous veterinary care, where they're just not going to get it even at a no-kill shelter.
Correct.
Because it's not 100% no-kill, right? A no-kill shelter isn't 100%
Right,
no-kill.
right.
The county,
Not all of
county
them,
run,
yes,
right? So there's still
exactly.
times that they just
Exactly.
can't take care of the dog.
Yeah.
Are there any particular breeds or mixed breeds that tend to have more health challenges for people looking to adopt, and as they're reaching out to you, and you may not even know their breeds 100%? You
Yeah,
kind of do.
I mean
but-
the purebreds that that come from breeders. I mean, it's hard to say, but they have a lot of skin issues, eye issues, things like that because they've come from maybe a puppy mill situation. So those are those are tough. We have a mom that we rescued that I have at my house because she's never going to be adopted. But she had no hair on her body. She came from Okeechobee. She lived her whole life in a crate, up to 9 years old when we rescued her. Never had seen grass. So she's part of my pack now.
Thank you. The rescue, I was going to ask you if there's just some dogs that just stay with you no matter what. You talked about Nala. Here's another one that, that's truly where your heart is.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing that. How big is your facility?
It's for 4 acres. We actually have 2 facilities. We have an adoption ranch in Palm City. That's 5 acres where we have our bigger dogs. And then we have another ranch in Palm City that's a little smaller, and we have our senior dogs there and our dogs that need to be rehabilitated, like Captain.
Like Captain.
Yes. And the seniors are another heartbreak, real
I was going to ask, what can you say to folks that are hesitant to adopt a dog because they're seniors? They have so much to offer.
Yeah, they have so much to offer, and even if they're 9, 10 years old and they live for 3 years, that's the best time of their life that they'll remember.
Right.
And to see them, the most heartbreaking thing is to see the seniors in the shelter who have been in a home their whole life. We have 2 of them. One just got adopted. But we have Brittany, she's 7, and she was with her owner her whole life since a puppy. And she was, brought to the shelter by a neighbor because the owner had to go in assisted living and there was no family. And I was there choosing the dogs to go on transport. And she's not 100% dog friendly, so she wasn't a candidate to go to New Hampshire. But I could not forget her face. So I didn't even have a spot, and I put her in the car on the front seat and said, I'm taking her. So she's in a foster home now.
Good.
But yes, so she, they are so confused. They're so smart, and they're just like, why am I here? And they know it's not home, so
They don't understand what's going on. They're looking for the place that
and you can see it in their face,
and
and you can see the ones that have totally given up hope, and those are the ones we try to help even if we can't transport them. So,
what can people do to help you here today?
Our biggest need is veterinary bills.
Okay, money.
Money, yep. That's always the biggest need is the vet. I think with every rescue, if you do it properly, the biggest need is veterinary bills. Because everything, even though we get a very good discount and our vet is wonderful and will help us in the middle of the night or any time we need it, but it still costs money. Heartworm tests, surgery, spays and neuters. Every animal has to be microchipped. All those things, those things all unfortunately cost money.
That's right.
So
That's
yeah. Even the deworming, it used to be so reasonable, and now, that price has gone way up because of the products, not because of our veterinarian. But anyway, so that's the biggest thing. And people can sponsor a dog. They can sponsor the veterinary care for a dog. That we have. We post when we're doing a heartworm treatment. People can sponsor that dog for their heartworm treatment.
Good.
So there's all different ways that they can
help out.
But that's the majority of the of our needs. So.
Do you need people, volunteers?
Yes, we always can use volunteers. Yeah, we have on our website, nalasrescue.org, we have a volunteer application and foster and adoption applications on there as well. So,
as we're wrapping up today's show, of course, there's Captain and there's all kinds of dogs. If you go to nalasrescue.org, it's important for anybody to reach out and help in any way that you can. But he's especially sweet. I got to tell you, he's just a little love. If anybody's even thinking about a dog,
He's a lap dog.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
as you can see,
You can
wants
see he
to
comes
be on my
around
lap.
and he
I
puts his
think
little
he
paw.
likes my leather boots.
He says, that's a good chew toy now.
If you do want to come out in person, so my job is having regular events, creating this social committee, having an active connection with our partners, rescues, and volunteers. Coming up on March 20th in Boca Raton at the Addison, we're having our second annual evening for the Everglades. There's going to be live music and a silent auction, social gathering with like-minded people who are interested in doing great for the animals, for environment, and supporting these great rescues. So.
And where can folks go to find out more information about the Everglades Animal Coalition for other upcoming events as well? I'm sure you have more than one, right? You're busy.
We're on all the platforms. You can go to evergladesanimalscoalition.org. We are on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and we'd love to get more done.
And while we're here today, I just want to let everybody know we are sitting here overlooking the Manatee Pocket in Port Salerno. You can't see it here on the video, but it's absolutely beautiful. We've got boats out there, the river. You just need to come out and visit it if you're looking for something to do with the family. It's anchored by the Pearl, the new swanky hotspot serving up fresh seafood, craft cocktails, and an unforgettable vibe. Explore the district, unwind by the water, and to top it all off, you can have ice cream at Captain Hook's. It is the best ice cream in Martin County. You won't be disappointed. You can do some aerial yoga at the OM Shack. So from laid-back days to lively nights, there's something for everyone. Come see what the buzz is all about here at the Fish House District and Marina in Port Salerno. Nava, if there's just one thing that you could ask people to help the cause out today, what would that be?
I would say get on our mailing list. Go to evergladesanimalscoalition.org. Go to the website, make a donation, find us at our next activations, and join our mission.
And Barbie, thank you so much for bringing Captain. Is there one thing you want to tell folks today? You've been so helpful. I know you need money. You can always use people to help out, certainly adopters, anybody that's thinking about that.
I think the biggest thing is to everyone to make sure to spay and neuter your animal.
Good advice.
And have your animal on heartworm prevention. Doesn't matter how many times they go outside, they still can get heartworm at any age. And that just, if we had all the money that we have spent on heartworm treatments over the years, we wouldn't have to, raise so much money. So we've spent a lot of money on heartworm treatments over the years. So it's preventable. There's not a lot of things that are 100% preventable. That is 100% preventable.
And it's a lot cheaper to give them
That's
the preventable
right,
little
yes,
pill
that's
than
right.
it is to go through the treatment.
Exactly.
And you might lose your dog too.
Right,
so
right.
it's just
so
it's
those
not
are the
worth
two
it.
things that, that we think would help. So.
It's good advice. Make sure you visit nalasrescue.org, especially if you're interested in Captain here. He is looking for his forever home. I know he's looking at you, Nava.
You want to be my forever?
Absolutely adorable. Lots of dogs and cats out there. Please help them out. But that's a wrap on today's episode. And a huge thank you to Nava Love, Barbie Moline, and the entire team at the Everglades Animal Coalition for their incredible work rescuing and protecting animals in the Everglades. Their dedication is truly inspiring, and it's a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play in conservation, whether by volunteering, donating, or simply spreading awareness. If you'd like to support their mission, visit evergladesanimalcoalition.org. And if you're interested in helping Barbie at Nala's Rescue or adopting one of their fur babies in need of a forever home, check out nalasrescue.org. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your friends. Every little action makes a difference. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay aware, stay engaged, and keep fighting for the wild. And before we go, stay tuned for an exclusive sneak peek at Jeff Corwin's upcoming Expedition Rescue Mission, Hope.
My gosh, this dog is starving. This animal is just looking for its family, but it is alone, left to survive in a very unforgiving environment.
This footage is not from an impoverished third world country. This is South Florida, where dogs and cats are dumped by the thousands every year.
People release them here thinking that they're gonna have a better life. That's not the case.
Starvation, disease, parasites, predators like alligators, pythons, and even panthers serve up a miserable death for Florida's abandoned dogs.
This is the first time this mama has had clean water in a very, very long time. This scrappy little pup is covered with fleas. It's a cruel life for an abandoned dog like this.
There's no easy fix, but through the misery and neglect, we find hope. The committed network of compassionate folks extending from South Florida to New England are determined to rescue every canine left for dead in the miserable conditions of South Florida.
It's a combined effort. I have volunteers that come every single day.
Some of these scars that she has will fade.
And she will be happy.
Jeff, I think she's already pretty happy.
Over the last 25 years, we've rescued thousands and thousands of dogs.
I have doodles right here. They're all on their way to their forever home.
We're very heavy on adopt, don't shop. There's so many homeless animals out there that need a family, and this one was right for us.
For these pups, life is about to get a lot brighter.
I'm so happy. I'm so very happy.
This is Expedition Rescue Mission Hope.